Dear students, I am Sobha Bansiwal, Assistant Professor English, SPC Government College, Bhim. Today I am going to explain the poem On the Receipt of My Mother's Picture uh, by William Cooper. In this poem, William Cooper expresses his grief uh, over her mother's death. William Cooper found the William Cooper lost his mother when he was 6 years old, and he found the picture of his mother in the age of when he was 58 years old. He received a picture of his mother, which was gifted to him by her cousin, Mrs. Anne Bodham from Norfolk. In this poem, William Cooper pays a tribute to the memory of his mother. Let me explain you the poem line to line. Oh, that those lips had language! Life has passed with me but roughly since I heard thee last. In, in these lines, the poet says that the in these lines we have to imagine that the poet has the picture of his mother before him, and he is looking at the picture of his mother, and he's saying that uh, the lips which are he's saying, oh, that those lips had language. Life has passed with me but roughly since I heard the last. By, by looking the picture of his mother, the poet says that the poet wished that his mother were alive, and the lips which is painted in the picture had language. Life has passed with me but roughly since I heard thee last. Those lips are thine, thy own sweet smiles I see, the same that often in childhood solaced me. Voice only fails, as how distinct they say, grieve not, my child, chase all thy fears away. In these lines, the poet says that uh, since his mother died, he has gone through many miseries in his life, and life has been tough for him. And the picture which is painted in the photograph, her mother's picture, the lips, the poet says that the lips which are painted on the in the picture are very are there is a sweet smile on the lips in the picture, and this smile is the same which used to solace him in his childhood, and these lips are not alive. It means his mother is not alive. Otherwise, the picture appears to him uh, as if his mother is alive, and it appears to him as if his mother is saying to him, um, grieve not, my child, chase all thy fears away. It means he's he feels that his mother is saying to him that he should not grieve over uh, the fears and losses of his life, and he should chase away all the fears. The meek intelligence of those dear eyes. Blessed be the art that can immortalize, the art that baffles time's tyrannic claim to quench it. Here shines on me is still the same. The poet praises the art of painting, which immortalizes any person by, and the picture of his mother is has been made immortal by uh, being mm, pictured. Faithful remembrance of one so dear, O welcome guest, though unexpected here, who biddest me honor with an artless song, affectionate, a mother lost so long. The poet The poet addresses the picture of his mother as a welcome guest, which he has received unexpectedly, uh, which is bidding poet to write some uh, poem in the praise of his mother. And the poet says, I will obey not willingly alone, but gladly, as the precept were her own. He says that he will write a song or poem in memory of his mother, in praise of his, in honor of his mother, not only willingly, but he will write the poem as if his mother has ordered him to write this song, write this poem or song. And while that face renews my filial grief, fancy shall weave a charm for all my relief, shall steep me in Elysian reverie, a momentary dream that thou art see. The poet says that the picture renews all of his filial sorrows for his mother, but the pic- but the picture of his mother through imagination relieves his heart and brings all the memories of his mother back to him. Uh, Shall steep me in Elysian reverie and a momentary dream, though art thou art see, or and it appears to him as if he is drowned in a momentary dream. My mother, when I learned that thou wast My mother, when I learned that thou wast dead, say, wast thou conscious of the tears I shed over thy spirit or thy sorrowing son? Wretch, even then life's journey just begun. The poet addresses to his mother and says that if she wept, the poet addresses his mother and says to her, um, the poet addresses his mother in the picture and says to her that he wept bitterly when he came to know that his mother is dead, and he asked his mother whether she was conscious of the tears which he shed on the death of her, and he asked whether her spirit hovered on him when he was crying over her death. Uh, he became a wretched being even when the journey of his life began. Perhaps thou gavest me, though unseen, a kiss, perhaps a tear, if souls can weep in bliss. Ah, that maternal smile, it answers, yes, I heard the the poet asked his mother. The poet says that uh, his mother the poet answers the question which he has just asked. The poet answers that surely his mother would have kissed him, um, or the spirit of his mother would have kissed him, and would have shed tears, if souls or spirits can kiss and shed tear. At that maternal smile, and looking at the smile in the picture, the poet feels affirmed, and he says that yes, the poet wants to say that the smile in the picture of his the the smile of his mother in the picture affirms that her soul would have shed tears and would have kissed him when he was crying over her death. I heard the bell tolled on thy burial day. I saw the hearse that bore thee slow away, and turning from my nurse's window, drew a long sigh, and wept a last adieu. Uh, the poet says that when the hearse of his mother's was being taken to the church, uh, he heard the bells on the on her mother's burial day, and when the hearse of his mother was being taken to the church, he was standing at the window of his room, and he was shedding tears, and he moved away from the window and took a long sigh and wept a last adieu. He bid a last farewell to his mother. But was it such? It was. Where thou art gone, adieus and farewells are sound unknown. May I but meet thee on that peaceful shore, the parting sound shall pass my lips no more. The poet says that his mother has gone to heaven, where there are no farewells. Um, the poet wishes that he could reach at that place, he could reach heaven, and he could unite with his mother. And by doing so, he will not have to say farewell to his mother ever. The maidens grieved themselves at my concern, often gave me promise of a quick return. What ardently I wished, I long believed, and disappointed still, was still deceived. By disappointment every day beguiled, dupe of tomorrow even from a child. Thus many a sad tomorrow came and went, till all my stock of infant sorrow spent. I learnt at last submission to my lot. The poet says that when his mother died, the maid servants at his home consoled him by saying that his mother would return back uh, soon. So he hoped that his mother would return. But each day he felt disappointed, and he was duped, he was deceived um, by the hope of tomorrow. Thus, he kept on hoping for the return of his mother, and he kept on disappointing. Um, at last, he resigned to fate. But though I less deplored thee, never forget. And he never forget his mother. With the passing of time, he began to feel less grief over the death of his mother, but he never forgot his mother. Where once we dwelt, our name is heard no more. Children not thine have trod thy nursery floor, and where the gardener Robin day by day drew me to school along the public way, delighted with my bauble couch and wrapped in scarlet mantle warm and velvet capped, till now become a history little known, that once we called the pastoral house our own, short-lived possession, but the record fair. The poet, the poet remembers uh, his childhood, and he says that in his childhood, um, he used to live in a pastoral home with his mother, and he used to go to school in his uniform, which was of um, red colored uh, coat and velvet, and he used to wear a cap which was of velvet cloth. And his gardener Robin used to uh, take him to school, or his nursery, or his to his school. And the pastoral home in which he used to live is is not does not belong to him now, and no one knows that he used to live there once, and now other people live in his nursery home. It was a short lived possession, but it had many